Hey guys, don't adjust your screen right now. This is just a regular video I'm gonna make. This is not a part of Bobcat Corner, which I've been doing lately, but I promise you guys I will resume that. I will resume Bobcat Corner, but this is a different video altogether. This is like more like the videos I have been making in the past when I first started STV Castle, and this is basically going to be more of a rant kind of video. Not an upset kind of rant, more like, well, that figures kind of rant, you know. Um, and this rant has to do with toxic workplaces. Now, if you guys are willing to listen to this, I do warn you that there are some things that may boggle your mind and some things that will make you raise your eyebrows, something of that sort. So just this is just a fair warning. Anyway, recently, as a freelancer, the online freelancing landscape has been changing. And in many ways, in my opinion, it has not been changing for the better. It's been changing for the worse. And I've made comments about that here on STV Castle, you know, in videos, in times past. But now I want to bring it back to light because something recently happened to me concerning one of the freelancing platforms that you may know very well about. And the one I'm talking about is guru.com. Now, I have not changed my personal Wix website, Wordsmith, concerning this. It probably still has the link to my now deactivated account on guru.com, meaning it's no longer there. And you're probably going to ask me, okay, why is it no longer there? Well, I'll tell you. In recent times, I have been trying to get back into the swing of things when it comes to applying for work, to applying for jobs, and it's been a rough go. I'm not going to lie to you guys, ever since the beginning of 2023, I think it's been a very rough ride for me, so to speak, concerning applying for work as a freelance writer, as a freelancer in general. Um, it hasn't been so nice. Let's just put it that way. And with guru.com, the main part of this topic, guru.com, I have been trying to get something established again there because in the beginning of my run, um, in 2014, I was splitting time between I was splitting time between Odesk and Elance, and that was before they merged to become Upwork. And I had other platforms on the side, such as Guru.com. I was using that previously for a short period of time, and I did manage to get like 3 jobs on Guru.com, really, a total of 3 jobs. So you can tell how successful I actually was using that platform. Not very. But anyway, in recent times, I have been struggling to get work, and that includes applying for jobs online on Upwork, which is really where I go to get work. That's where many people go to get work. So that's been my primary source. But I've been trying to establish a secondary source, a backup plan, so to speak, as far as where to go to get work. So I figured that if I reestablish something on guru.com, for example, that I would get back to the swing of things. I would get work. I would be able to make money again. But that didn't happen. It took me 2 weeks, these last 2 weeks, to realize that guru.com is, by all intents and purposes, a piece of crap organization. And it really boils down to the fact that, according to them, I was not able to provide legitimate photos of my driver's license. And I can't get into every single detail concerning that because that's more like sensitive information. But what I can tell you guys is that, long story short, they simply did not accept my photos for my driver's license. No matter how I took the pictures, no matter how I submitted them, and no matter when I did, because that was part of their complaints against me, was that, oh, well, the photos you submitted, they're too old, so you have to do it again. That was always the alert that I got from guru.com. I did that 3 times. I submitted my driver's license photos to guru.com 3 times, and each and every time they were rejected. And I never did never did really get a good explanation as to why my submissions were rejected. So initially, I paid $4.95 to even start this verification process so that I can be established again on Guru.com so I can apply for jobs. But with this whole brouhaha, you know, about the driver's license photos not being good enough for them, they got upset at me, which I'm not surprised. But okay, I keep having technical difficulties, so I'm just going to do this a different way. I'm going to share with you guys screenshots of messages that were exchanged back and forth between myself and Guru.com, their support team. And when you guys have the time, you can just read it for yourselves. I've tried reading these messages myself out loud a couple times already, and I keep having issues. So, whatever the case may be. Anyway, I also want to get around to linking this article for you guys to read in your spare time, of course. And this was written by the Walrus dot the Walrus.ca. That's a Canadian website, and they posted this article titled "Are Workplaces Inherently Toxic?" Now, that in itself is a mouthful because I'm pretty sure you guys are aware of the fact that so many workplaces out there, whether in person or remotely, they can be very toxic. They can be very cutthroat and ruthless. And if you've had any experience whatsoever in trying to get along with your boss, you would know that you have a lot of difficulties. And this is really the tip of the iceberg when you read an article like this. I'm just going to read a small part of this. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but here's the quote that I am going to read. Here's a quote. When people tell me they're in a toxic work environment, what they usually mean is they feel it's causing them physical or psychological harm, says Jeanette Bicknell, a workplace mediation specialist. She goes on here. Even if you're a good person or a good employee in a toxic workplace, you won't thrive because the workplace itself will make you dysfunctional. There's quite a bit in truth. There's quite a bit of truth in that, guys. According to the ILO survey, just over half of those who experience workplace violence and harassment report what happened, and many are more likely to tell friends or family rather than turn to formal avenues. Among survey respondents, the report says waste of time and fear for the reputation were the most common barriers. And that part, again, is true. I would believe that. Some of that reticence may stem from the covert and insidious nature of psychological harassment, micromanaging, giving inconsistent directions, and withholding crucial information from subordinates, as in Fung's experience, which is above in this article, are all forms of bullying. That hadn't occurred to me until I spoke with Edmonton based Linda Crockett, founder of the Canadian Institute of Workplace Bullying Resources. Now, I'm just giving you guys um, a little hint as to what you can expect to read in this article. I highly encourage you guys to read this article because it really dovetails into what I'm talking about here in this video. And for my own experiences, guys, as I promised earlier, I've had my fair share of adversity. I've had my fair share of abuse, neglect, um, micromanagement, and I've had a lot of things played out against me that should not have been played out against me. And this dates back even before I started freelancing online. I used to work at a dollar store. I used to work at, a big department store. And each and every time I went to those places, I felt isolated. I felt ignored. I felt like my opinion did not matter. And just working in that environment, guys, it really took a toll on me and really took a toll on me physically because I felt like I blew out my knees so much because I was stocking shelves and I kept feeling pain in my knees. And that's one thing. That's just the physical abuse, in that sense where you keep wearing yourself out. But also the mental abuse side of it, psychological abuse side of it, was that I had bosses that did not care, who did not care what I was feeling. I kept trying to get the point across to them that, hey, this is not a functional work environment for me. And these people just didn't care. They brushed it off. And if anything, they found ways to just, manipulate the situation all the more. So that was in person. That was in the department store, dollar store kind of setting. Can you guys imagine the other kinds of abuse that I got as a freelancer? And really, guys, working online, it has had its benefits. It really has. It's had great advantages because I get to work from home, of course, and get to do what I like. I found my calling as a writer, and I quickly realized that I was good at doing it. I was good at writing content. I was good at typing on the keyboard and formulating, pieces of content that people could appreciate. And over the span of 10 years, since 2014, full time, I've been doing that. But now I find myself in this position where it's getting really hard for anyone, not just me, but many other people, I believe, are suffering from getting manipulated by Upwork with their, you know, Connects bidding system, which I've always talked about at length here. But also when you do have a job, when you do work for somebody online and you're trying to do a good job for them, and then they come back at you and they throw all sorts of negativity at you, you realize that you're in for a bumpy ride. And I've met so many clients over these 10 years that fit that profile, unfortunately. I've had a lot of issues dealing with clients who kept asking for one thing after another. They kept asking for this thing and that thing. And they kept coming back to me saying, oh, well, your content's not good enough, Steven. I need this. I need edits here. I need something more here. Can you do more of this for me? Something of that sort. And initially, I can fulfill those duties. Initially, I can, go back and edit content for them. Initially, I can go back to the drawing board and rework, some written content of mine. But there also comes a point in time where you have to draw a line. You have to understand where you're at as a worker and that you have to have some self respect. You have to respect yourself at some point and realize, hey, I'm being manipulated here, I'm being bullied, and I cannot put up with it anymore. And I can't name any names, I'm not going to, but I've had bosses in the past who promised to give me bonuses, and for some reason, they never fulfilled their promise. They never kept their promise of giving me a bonus, and that's a whole other rabbit trail to go down. I've worked my butt off writing content for people. I've done a heck of a lot writing content for people. I've written like dozens and dozens of blog posts for clients. I've written so many pages of playbooks, audit related playbooks for people. And at the end of the day, I don't go appreciated. That's just how the business is, guys. You can, write your heart out. You can put everything on the line. You can be a dedicated team player for your respective group. But if your respective group is not going to give you that respect back, you have to step back and realize, what you're getting yourself into and why you're doing it. And I know that there are many pitfalls for me. There have been. Just ask me for these last 10 years alone, guys. I've seen so much. And I've had people, clients who came back to me after I did a great job, after I did exactly what they told me to do. They came back to me and said, well, Stephen, you got to do it in a shorter amount of time now. Or, well, Stephen, it's not exactly formatted to the way I wanted it. So can you do it this way this next time? All sorts of BS excuses as to why they're not happy with my work. And really, I feel like I'm qualified enough at this point in time, 10 years into this, where I can say, I'm tired of this crap. And I want everybody watching this to know. Because you can only push freelancers like me for so much, for so long. And don't think you can just get away with it now. Because I have a platform where I can speak freely about it. So, how about that? How do you like them apples? Anyway, this is not going to be the only time I'm going to be talking about this. This is not going to be the only rant that I'm going to go on because there are many more things that I'm probably not even thinking about right now that I need to mention, and I'm just not thinking about it right now. So when it comes about, I promise you guys I'll talk about it. But I just want to do something different today. Like I promised, Bobcat Corner will resume probably next week sometime. And if you guys have any opinions about this, if you have any comments whatsoever about freelancing online, please let me know. Please provide comments down there. And like I said, like I've been saying all along, guys, be professional, okay? Keep it real when you comment. And if you're going to talk to me about something real. Okay, so hope you guys are having a good day. We'll come back here shortly. Thanks.